Much appreciate it. Let's bring in Republican Congressman Mike Turner. He sits on the House Intelligence Committee. Congressman, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. You're going to get a briefing on the al-Shabaab video and their call to attack the Mall of America this week. How serious a threat do you take this group to be?
Well, I think this is why we need a global strategy, Jake. This is, in effect, a terrorist attack. Their goal in terrorism, as you know, is to cause fear, and their attempt here is to cause fear. Now, whether or not these particular threats are real or not, these organizations are. As you pointed out, al-Shabaab, having ties to al-Qaeda, have previously orchestrated these types of attacks. And I think we need to make certain that we don't just look at this as isolated geographic incidences. This is not just how do we deal with Paris or how do we deal with the al-Qaeda threat to the Mall of America. It's how do we deal globally with these terrorist groups and organizations to take down their capabilities, to take their ability to threaten Americans.
Right, but different groups have different reaches and different groups have different abilities. I know that in the past, the group ISIS versus the al-Qaeda remnants in Syria, plus then there's Boko Haram. There are a whole AQAP. There are a whole bunch of different terrorist groups. Is al-Shabaab considered a serious threat to the United States homeland?
Well, I think you just outlined well, Jake, in your description of this in the opening. Any group or organization that has the intent to harm Americans and are making these calls and pronouncements can both have a direct threat and also the effect of soliciting or encouraging others to take action. But in this instance, what we see, unfortunately, and this is something that the United States needs to turn to, that the President needs to turn to, as we have retreated from these areas, these groups have grown and taken hold. The threats to the West and to the United States has grown. This is something that needs to be addressed because if we don't take this fight directly to them to take down their capabilities, both financially, structurally, and in their leadership, we'll see threats like this continue to be a risk for us.
You were talking about how, in a way, al-Shabaab had already achieved something by creating terror, creating fear. Minnesota is home to the largest Somali population in the U.S. Somalia, of course, home to al-Shabaab's base of operations. Do you think that there is actually a link there, or is the group, in your estimation, hoping somebody in Minnesota is inspired by this video, or are they trying to alienate Somali Americans from the rest of the population?
Well, I think your last point is certainly an important one. I mean, we should not look, suspiciously at just anyone who has either roots or, faith in Islam or comes regionally from an area. The issue is one of these terrorist organizations that take terrorism, Islamic extremism, to the point of wanting to hurt Americans. We can't succumb to their culture of fear that they want to impose upon us. At the same time, we need to remain diligent. It's very good to see what the Mall of America is doing. It's good to see what Homeland Security is doing. But what we need to do is a global strategy that makes them at risk instead of our being at risk.
Congressman Mike Turner from Dayton, Ohio, thank you so much. Really appreciate it.